Hey everyone, today we are going to talk about services in Angular. But before we delve into what a service is, let's try to understand why do we need services in Angular. And to demonstrate this, I have set up a simple demo here. Here you can see that this is a simple web page that displays a list of programming languages. So let's look at the code for the same. This is our app module file, which is bootstrapping the app component here. Then, in our app component file, we have set the title property to FullTechStack. And then the template file for this component is displaying a heading Welcome to FullTechStack using string interpolation that we have already covered. After that, we are displaying the list of languages using the language list selector. And this takes us to the language list component, where we have defined an array of language object which is being rendered in the template file. And for that we are using the ng-for directive. Now let's go back to our web page and we can see that everything is working as expected here. The title, the list, everything is working perfectly fine. Now let's say there comes a new requirement, and that is for displaying the complete information related to the language, including the name, year and description. Unlike this, here we are only displaying the language name. And we already know that by simply creating a language detail list component, we can achieve this, like this. I have already set up a template file here that is using ng-for directive to iterate over the languages array and display language name, year and description. But here's the problem. If you look at the component.ts file, you won't see the languages array present here, as we had in the language list component, which was here, but we all know that its scope is limited to this component only. So in our language detail list component, we cannot bind the language data in our template file like this. But to resolve this, I'll simply go to the language list component, copy this language array from here, and paste it in the language detail list component. Then I'll go back to the app component template and render the language detail list using the selector, like this. Save it and it will work perfectly fine. Here you can see the language detail list is getting rendered properly. Now, if we only examine the requirement we had and consider whether it is met or not, we can affirmatively say yes. However, this is not the optimal solution, as we are violating a significant principle of programming, that is the DRY principle, which says don't repeat yourself. And this is quite evident in our languages array, where we are duplicating it from the language list component to the language detail list component. So we definitely need a better solution, and that solution is a service. So what is a service? Services are like the backbone of your Angular application, or you can consider a service as a simple class serving a specific purpose. Just think of them as reusable pieces of code that perform specific tasks or provide functionality that can be shared across multiple components. And a service in Angular also helps in keeping your code modular, maintainable, and easy to test. Then, the naming convention for a service file is .service.ts. So now that we understand what a service is and why do we need it, let's explore how we can create and use services in Angular. And the answer to this lies in the dependency injection that we are going to understand in our next part.